What's going on, you guys? This is going to be a different type of video, but I believe it's going to have crazy amounts of value. So whether or not you take something out of this or you want to go apply it to your own life or whatever, I think this is going to be a great type of video for you to be able to apply within your own day-to-day actions. I'm going to be breaking down step by step the exact formula within the revival system, how I took one of my clients in the matter of 6 months and transformed them into a completely different person, which you're going to see within this video. I don't know about you guys, but these types of videos where I get to learn, take notes, get walked through step by step. These are the exact things that at least took myself or where I was at to now applying it to my own life over the last couple of years. So sit back, take some notes. Obviously, if you need to come back to this video, by all means do so. It's going to be here forever. Or if you want to send this to someone as well, because you get so much value out of it, by all means do so. With that being said, let's get right into it. I want to establish first and foremost, it's going to be a video very in depth of how I took Armando, one of my clients here, as you can see on the picture there, from just feeling unconfident, not like himself. He had a very demanding job, but he also felt like he was training heavily in depth, which I'll break that down here in just a few minutes, to now the better version of himself where he felt super confident and got complimented all the time, which I believe is one of the best feelings ever, especially coming from a guy who was super overweight and unconfident. Being able to now take your shirt off confidently at the gym, or at a beach or a public setting and get compliments from people knowing who you used to be and who you are now. And so that all being said, unconfident men rebuild your body, mindset, and discipline to become unshakably confident while packing on lean muscle in 180 days or less using what I call the revival system. Guaranteed results, or I'll work with you until results are achieved without losing yourself to burnout, spending endless hours in the gym, or giving up on foods and social life that make you feel human. So this is how we took Armando from feeling invisible to unstoppable. Day one, as you see at the top of the row there, he started at 202.5 pounds, right? He just had a demanding job, skipped meals, crushed caffeine, scrolled at night, trained inconsistently, and he simply just wanted to feel proud again and the most confident version of himself while being in control. Now, day 180, he ended up at 176.5 pounds. About 21-pound difference if my math is mathing correctly. He ended up building a lean, athletic frame, established a morning routine, which I'm going to break down a little bit further in depth how I think that's super important, and basically gained crazy confidence from keeping promises to himself. No type of crazy diets, no two-a-days, no taking him out of his own routine. He was able now to just live the life he was still living, switching up certain things in his day-to-day as far as that routine goes, morning and night, and also being able to imply almost saving more money and saving more time by having me there to, one, hold him accountable, but give him the right structure and right systems in play for his own life. And so a big thing that I want to establish before going any further, as far as what I did for Armando and a few of my other clients, is that establishing if this is even for you, right? So this will now let you know right away if you're one of these four or a mix of them or all four. Very similar to how I was. This is why I'm telling you this right now, is that if you're feeling stuck, if you're half committing, you need structure, or you're ready to lead, any of those four, this is for you. And so if you feel stuck, basically you feel unconfident, stuck in a rut, or want to rebuild from the inside out, this is for you. If you're tired of fitness plans that fizzle out after 2 weeks, I've been there, done that. This is for you. If you need structure and you need the discipline, if you know you need discipline, I'm just excited about this, so my apologies there, but you don't know where to start or how to sustain it, this is for you. Now, last but not least, if you're ready to stop being a spectator in your own life, start becoming the main character, then this is for you. Next thing there I want to establish before I go any further is establishing if this is not for you. Right? Like if you're one of these four or a mix of them or all four, then you can kindly click off the video. Or if you want to stick around and see the amount of value that I've brought to now this video, you can. But this is just how it is, man. I'm tired of working with people that aren't willing to work. I've dealt with a lot of people in the past, and I've gone through a lot of people in the past. I'm at the point now, and I have been for a while, where I just want to work with people that I know are tired of being tired, very similar to how I was, and are ready to go, right? Armando was one of them for me, and I knew where he was at because that was my older version, and I took him to where now he is today. And alongside some other clients as well, which I'll break down here in just a second. But this is not for you if you want a quick fix, if you won't be honest, if you blame everything else and you expect magic, right? So if you want a quick fix, if you're looking for that quick 12-day shred or magic supplement, this is not for you. If you're not willing to be honest about your habits or make consistent changes,
this is not for you. If you refuse to take ownership of your life where you are, then this is not for you. And if you want results without discipline or accountability, this is not for you. And so this is basically the truth about gaining confidence that no one will really tell you, or people try to sugarcoat here and there. I'm simply here to be as real and honest with you guys as possible. So confidence isn't genetic, it's earned. You now are at the point wherever you are in your life. For me, it was about 4.5, 5 years ago. I was tired of being tired. I felt just skinny fat, unconfident, a little overweight, always scared to take my shirt off at the pool. And that's just kind of how it was, man. But, I turned myself into that confident version of me because of now the revival system I've put in play for my own life, but also the things that I've been able to do and walk through day by day because of me doing that every single day and establishing that structured plan. And so it's not just a genetic thing that you'll have as far as confidence goes. You have to earn that. And now once you look back on what you used to be, and as you become that better version of you, you're just going to not naturally get more confident because you've earned it. And so confidence comes from alignment when your actions match your intentions for long enough that you start to basically just trust yourself again. Most men feel unconfident because they don't have the structure. They wake up reactive, they eat whatever's around, they skip the gym, then they feel guilty and ashamed, which unfortunately is just the truth that most people probably won't tell you. And these are a few things that there's no such thing as, right? So I don't have time. You don't need more time. You just need a plan that simply fits your life. That's a big thing, at least for myself, that where I was at, I went to school, got decent grades, and then I had a job on the weekends. And then I was after school, I graduated, going to a personal training job, trying to do different businesses here and there, working a bartending and serving job on the weekends. So it's not that I didn't have enough time, because I was working a few different jobs at one time, but I was still locked into my diet, locked into my training plan, and was able to do a few different bodybuilding shows alongside that. So that's not a thing that even exists at all. So get that out of your mind. That won't work for me. You don't need to try everything. You need to do the right things consistently. That's as simple as it says. And then I've tried everything. You don't need a perfect motivation. You just simply need systems that make discipline automatic. So you need things now that are in your life for that structure that will work for you in your schedule. What worked for Sally or Joe or Tim is not going to work for you, or at least most likely not. So we now have to establish together that one-on-one connection to be able to find where you're at currently and take you to where you want to be by not taking, all the things out of what you're currently doing in your day-to-day life and just making it as stress-free as possible, right? So that's definitely something that I wanted to go over as far as things that there's no such thing as, right? So in case you guys don't know me, I kind of forgot to mention this, but I'll go over it right now. Here's a brief backstory on how I got here. So for years, I was that guy who would never take his shirt off for any setting, felt super unconfident. Even when I felt like, I was barely only eating salads and chicken all day long, I saw the top two abs barely if it had the perfect lighting. But now that I've built a physique that most men honestly are jealous of, I want to help you. I want to help you do the same exact thing. Having a solid physique, muscle, abs, veins popping out, being able to lift heavy weight while still thriving in business, you just really can't beat that. For me, I took this, I don't even know, not too long ago, but just being able to look back on those pictures and just see the details in the muscles that I've created, like this is a big thing too. I want you guys to realize, man, that being able to take your shirt off confidently and pose, if you will, for the camera, I don't do this to get views or clicks or likes or anything. I do this as a documentation for my own life because I know where I was at 4, 5, 6 years ago, and I know where I'm at now. The amount of work that went in behind the camera to now create this version of me, dude, it's crazy. And then you now look back on that and you're able to post that with confidence and hopefully inspire as many people as possible because I know what it exactly was like. So I'm extremely passionate about this lifestyle because I know it is the key to unlocking the highest version of potential. That's just how it is. And I know most men are sold on the quote unquote diets, and we're seeing a little just no results in the traditional ways of doing so. And that's one thing that I also don't like as well is that the word diet is just thrown around loosely so much nowadays, man. Like, oh, you got to get on the keto diet, on the carnivore diet, on the no carb diet, like all these different diets. Most of them, it's a diet because it's not sustainable. Like that is something that I take super pride in, is being able to now help someone from week to week, month to month, end up going on year to year to where now they can understand their body and how it reacts to certain things, and then eventually go about and do it on their own, right? And like still enjoy their lifestyle, which I'll break down further how I'm able to let my clients still enjoy their day to day and go through different phases within these 6 months to now to basically have their body react certainly to different things. And so all of this combined, this is now what brought me to create what's called the revival system. And so within the revival system, it's made up of 2 phases, right? 3 pillars, but 2 phases. And this is the exact full breakdown as I go through this of what I use for Armando to create his transformation in 6 months. Training, nutrition, recovery. Super basic, super easy, but I'm going to be breaking them all down on exactly what I did to now create the 2-phase system of the revival system. Also breaking it down into these 3 different pillars. And so training, build discipline through structured intensity, proper form, strategic programming, and train not just for the muscle, but also for mastery. Nutrition, fueling your body, obviously with the intentional through balanced macros, strategic meal selection, and sustainable timing. That is something as well where I think is an easy thing to kind of realize, but not an easy thing to go about day to day, is the meal timing, right? Like I think if you can structure it out a couple hours on top of a couple hours with what comes to the actual prep for your nutrition and meal prepping, which I'll break down here in just a second as well, that is something that I think is huge and a lot of people miss on. And last but not least, recovery, basically allowing growth through quality sleep, stress control, and mental reset. Progress happens when you rest. I know so many different people, including myself. I used to be that guy, man, I want to train 7 days a week. I want to hit toes and arms. I want to hit calves and kneecaps. I want to hit elbows and fingers. Like you try to make up every single day become just another different body part that's not sore, even though your body's screaming for you to stop, right? Like that was me for the longest time, man. When I first started, I was just trying to go balls to the wall and do everything that I could to just make it happen. And then I started to realize when that was actually hurting me more than helping me, then I started to implement this system into my own life and now allow myself. There was times when I was only working out 3 days a week. I was doing a full body split. I was actively recovering a lot better throughout my days, and I actually grew more during that phase. I'm not at the point now where I train 5 days a week. That's just what works best for my own schedule. But obviously, I'm here to simply give you that breakdown as far as what we did for Armando and what you could also do for you if this aligns with your own life. And so the training, which is what I call the foundation, most men think training is about chasing a pump or copying influencers. That's why I never really look or feel different, or that's why they never really look or feel different. Training isn't just about the physical. It's the first tool we use to rebuild now your discipline in your life. These 3 different subcategories within training: intensity, form, and selection. Huge, and what I am now able to do for my own life, but also brought to Armando, is learn how to push your limits without burning out, and then send your body a clear signal to grow. Is your intensity. Form, train with precision that makes every rep count. Control builds confidence. That's just what it comes down to. If you can control the weight confidently, and you can go down and up with a specific amount of weight, and you can log that week to week, and then over the course of those last 4 weeks, you look back on it, and you put 20 pounds on, a dumbbell incline press. Well, now you're confident in doing that because you logged it and you did it with the right intensity, form, and obviously selection. And within the selection, this is where your program works to fit your goals, your schedule, and recovery needs. So you just need the right things that are structured for you, because if someone's working, 12-hour shifts 5 days a week in their own job, obviously they're not going to have a workout program that is training every single day, going to the max failure, being there for hours and hours on end. So it's just all about whatever works for you and your schedule, giving you the right thing that works for that to, again, take you to that version of you where without the help or the right foundation in play, you probably wouldn't know how to take it. So that's what I start off with as far as the foundation goes. And this is actually the exact training split that I use for Armando in what we call the 2-phase system. Phase 1 being the ignite phase, and then phase 2 being the transcend phase. And so the ignite phase itself was day 1 through day 90. Day 1, we started off with chest biceps. Day 2, back and triceps. Day 3, legs and abs. And day 4, shoulders and a little bit of arm touch up. And so this basically started off where it was a 2 days on, 1 day off rotation, around 60-minute sessions focused on volume, consistency, and form. We wanted to prime him, or AKA ignite the muscles in where he was at in his life, because he was already dialed into the gym. He was just off structure. He didn't really have the right things in play for his own life. So I wanted to get to learn his body and how it reacted better, but also wanted to prime his muscles in starting off at a little bit higher volumes and making sure that his muscles were on point to get him to that next level, to then in the transcend phase where days 91 through 180, we didn't really switch anything up. It was more of sticking to the same exact routine. I don't want to throw his body off any way, didn't have to. Maybe as far as the selection of exercises, we switched up slightly or tweaked it week to week depending on how his body was reacting, but it was the same exact rhythm. So we increased weight that he was doing week to week. We obviously just lowered the reps, so it made a little bit more sense to optimize his recovery, build that muscle, and now establish that discipline from day 91 to now day 180. And so cardio, this is something as well that we implemented to his day-to-day routine. I personally think, in my humble opinion, that it is literally therapy in motion. I don't know about you guys, but if you ever been, just in your head, or you felt down or a little bit depressed, or maybe something at work happened wrong, you got in a fight, whatever has happened in your own life, man, a simple walk around your block, around the corner, around wherever you live at, it is crazy how much that can really just reset your brain and reset your mindset to now getting yourself in a better mood, right? Like that's what it comes down to. And what we did is utilize the cardio as like his own therapy to where it worked best for his own schedule. And so it's not punishment, it's simple daily movements, and it's a time to now clear your head. And so the not punishment part, we just use cardio as a tool for energy, focus, and longevity, because there are times where, depending on your schedule, once again, if you're crazy active at work, why would we care to go out and do the same exact thing at night and just destroy your body and allow it for no recovery? It just makes zero sense. And so what we ended up doing for Armando here is take those simple daily movements, which was 3 to 4 depending on the day, 10-minute-ish walks that are spread throughout the day instead of draining him on 45-minute sessions. So one thing that I want to establish here is that a lot of people will dread the idea of cardio after a workout or maybe early in the morning because, I'm on the same machine or I'm running for 45 minutes to an hour. Like that's something that is a real thing, and not a lot of people want to or are willing to do it, which I totally understand. But if you now were to take, after you eat a couple times through your day, or maybe you're in the middle of a shift at work, you ate your meal and then you went outside for a quick 10-minute walk throughout your day, you're getting your steps in, you're getting your digestion in, but that also counts as cardio. You're having your body move. So it's those simple daily movements that allowed him to continue in his plan that worked best for him. And then last but not least, and allow you again to clear your head. Like if you walk with intention and you control your thoughts and you reduce your stress, I'm a big advocate for this. I like to go on a morning walk every single morning for my own routine. But now I put on about a 15 to 20 minute podcast that allows me to just, lock in on my thoughts or just take in what someone's positively throwing at me through that podcast, rather than looking at a bunch of BS that you'll probably scroll through on random social media outlets nowadays, right? So we use that cardio for good, not for bad. I promise you, everyone hates the word cardio, but it's a good thing at the end of the day if you can do it in the right intentions. And so next we have our nutrition, where I'm a big advocate for fueling it with intention, right? Like I'm not just go eat your chicken and broccoli and rice all day and that's going to be only your meals and do this, do that. No, I'm not about that. I'm here about, the meal selection, the actual macros, and then once again, the meal timing. And so most men don't really eat for their goals. They eat for convenience. They skip breakfast. They ended up binging at night. They overeat when they're stressed and then quote unquote compensate by starving themselves the next day. It's not discipline that they lack. It's the simple structure. And so within the meal selection, these are the building blocks of sustainable eating. The meal timing is the actual structure that creates consistency. And then our macros is the blueprint for the actual transformation with how you're able to fuel your body. And so this is what I use as the macro blueprint, where it can be, again, changed depending on who it is. We have the proteins here, which are about 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight for muscle growth and recovery. The carbs, I believe it's about 1.5 to 2.5 grams per pound, depending on the goal and the activity level for energy. And then the fats is about 0.3 to 0.6 per pound for hormone production and satiation. Well, most people don't understand this, which I totally get. It's not something you have to know or understand right away. But by utilizing these three things, aka macros, to do that, this is what allows you to now to have your body be fueled the right way, have your energy throughout the day. Also, a big one there is the fats. So your healthy fats as far as avocados, any sort of nut butter, olive oils, those types of things now will produce satiation and allow you to stay fuller throughout your day. So those binge late night snacks or any sort of things that, oh, I'm hungry, I'm going to go smack some chips or go eat some ice cream after dinner because I'm hungrier. Like, that's not going to be the case at all, because the idea of why most people even have any sort of cravings is because they're lacking some sort of nutrient in their body. And so to put this as like a simple science experiment, right? Well, most people are probably craving some sort of sweetness, whether that's chocolate or whatever. And by the way, I'm not against giving people meals or things that go off plan a little bit. And I'll break that down here in just 1 second. But that's as simple as it is, man. Like, if you're craving a sweet tooth or chips or something salty or whatever, it's because your body is lacking some sort of nutrient that you need to replace with something in your meal plan. And so that's where I'm at, to where as your body adapts, your plans adapt too. And then we track your progress through photos, performance, and energy, not just the scale. I'm not a big advocate for your scale weight's going to define how you are and move and how you look throughout your day. I just use it as a simple mechanism because at the end of the day, men lie, women lie, but numbers don't. Obviously, if you're overweight and you're not the most confident version of yourself, the scale number is going to be probably higher. But what I also like to do is that as we recomp your body and throughout these 6 months, you're definitely going to lose weight, but you also may not lose as much as you think you are, because we're going to be turning now that into a little bit of muscle. We're going to be adding on the right type of size to your body frame, not just stripping fat and leaving you skinny and bones, pretty much. So that's the macro blueprint about what I did exactly for everyone, but what I did specifically for now Armando. And then this is the breakdown of his daily meals. He went from scattered eating to structured programs to now 5 meals per day, eating about every 2 to 4 hours. And then this is what a typical day looked like for him. Meal 1 was his morning foundation. We had 8 egg whites, 2 whole eggs, 40 grams of oats, 32 grams of peanut butter, and 100 grams of blueberries. Those are now his macros there, with 52 grams of protein, 47 grams of carbs, and 29 grams of fat. Again, every single meal that goes down here, this was just part of what worked best for him. So, I can make it as complex as needed as possible, but this is what worked for him and his day-to-day to allow his transformation happen super smoothly. And so meal 2 was his midday fuel. He had 6 ounces of chicken, 250 grams of rice, and 24 grams of peanut butter, 75 grams of pineapple, veggies, and then ended up being those macros there. His pre-workout, which also can be used as far as pre and post-workout goes, before or after, any one of these meals. Like, it doesn't have to be in this exact order. He just now had meal 1, he had meal 2, and then after he got off work, he ended up having his pre-workout, going to obviously work out, post-workout, and then right before, a couple hours before bed, he ended up having meal 3 to finish out his day. And so his pre-workout, which was his energy prep, he had a simple protein bar that we used to track every single day, 50 grams of almonds, 4 ounces of shrimp, which ended up being these macros here. And his post-workout was his recovery, which was any sort of protein source, which I kind of allowed, whether it was another protein bar or some sort of, protein powder of some sort. I like that, just best for him and what was easiest around his house. And then 40 grams of carbs, which is either from cereal or a bagel. So believe it or not, if you're, cereal's bad for you or these types of carbs are bad for you, nothing is necessarily quote unquote bad for you. I mean, if you eat too much chicken, that's probably going to be bad for you, right? But we now adapted and allowed these types of meals to basically fuel his day-to-day, right? Like, that's just what it comes down to, is what does your day look like? What does your job look like? What does your routine look like? And how can I implement the meals, the workouts, the cardio, the regimen, all this different stuff into your day that makes the most sense for you? That's all it is what works best for you will work for you. And so that was his post-workout. And then last but not least, his meal 3, which is his evening strength. He had 5 ounces of sirloin steak or some sort of leaner beef, 250 grams of rice, 32 grams of peanut butter, asparagus stalks, which ended up being that. And that's just how it was, man. That's what worked best for him. That's how we broke it down, his daily meals. Again, it switched up here and there throughout the different times, but this was majority of the times and not what ended up working best for Armando to create his transformation. And so now this is where it gets fun, at least in my opinion, because these are what we call free meals, or in other words, people like to call them cheat meals. But I don't like the word cheat. I don't like to use any sort of, negative language, I guess, if you will. But this is what allows you to stay human, man. At the end of the day, we're all human. And so what we ended up doing actually is integrating 1 or 2, depending on how he looked, weekly free meals to where we allowed him to eat off the program while still losing body fat. Like, believe it or not, you can implement meals if you earn it, 1, but your body is telling you you need more food, 2, into your day-to-day or week-to-week program. So it's not something that you need to just stay away from. I can't have a burger. I can't have sushi. I can't have some sort of food that I like to do and, take my girlfriend out to eat. You can do that by all means. We just have to, again, work it into your schedule with what works best for you. And so these meals are earned, like I said. They're not impulsive. They actually allow you to reset your metabolism, fuel your mind, and overall just make you feel human. And so you'll learn to integrate these moments intentionally so you can stay shredded and be social without ever feeling restricted. And that's something that not a lot of people talk about, like, I gotta stay on this chicken and rice and broccoli meal plan for 6, 8, 12 weeks. No, you can make it enjoyable and make yourself still feel human. You just have to have the right things in play that works best for your own schedule, and that's exactly what worked best for him. And so recovery, what we actually did for Armando and what I tend to do for a lot of people, this is where the true growth happens. In my opinion, if you're not recovering right, you're probably never going to see the true progress of what can actually happen in your day-to-day. And so most men underestimate the recovery part. They think that progress happens in the gym, which it does, but the actual growth, aka recovery, happens when you're at rest. And so keeping your sleep, stress control, mental reset, they're all hidden levers that are separate transformations from burnout. So what we ended up doing for Armando is that we stopped eating during a specific time, right? Like there was no food 1 or 2 hours before bed. We just thought that was going to be the easiest thing for him in his schedule, especially with where he was at. I think he went to bed around 10:30 or 11, and then he was up around 6 a.m. every single day. So he wanted to make sure we stopped it about an hour or 2 before so his body can actually digest the food and not before going to bed. Your body's just thinking about food and digestion where your body doesn't fully go to rest. And so we did what's called a digital detox as well, where there was no sort of phone or bright light about 45 minutes to 60 minutes before bed. And so we allowed him now through a sort of night routine where he started to read more. He started to listen to different white noises. And that allowed him to, 1, get naturally more tired, but 2, allow him to fully just shut off and reset so he would now have the perfect 6 to 7 hours of deep sleep that was needed for his body to recover. And then last but not least, we have the cool environment. So this is a big one too, because I know there's a lot of people out there that, like to sleep on, 71, 72, 73, maybe even hotter at night, which by all means, if you sleep well through that, do your thing. But what I've noticed for myself and a lot of people as well that I work directly with, Armando being one of them, is that the cooler of the environment, the deeper of a sleep you got, right? And so what we ended up doing for him, I think it was on, between 71 and 73 most nights. He was just tossing and turning. He would always get up like randomly in the middle of the night sometimes, which still wasn't too bad because you got to do what you got to do and listen to your body. But we ended up now reversing that, I think, to, I want to say like 67 or 68 degrees, which might sound crazy, but we did that only for his room at night. And that now allowed him to just fall into a deep sleep, feel good, and then wake up just rested more than anything. And that was kind of the biggest thing for him as far as the recovery goes. But this is what I call like the domino effect, which is your sleep, where sleep is so underrated nowadays, man, that most people think sleep is for the weak, or I don't want to get my sleep, or I'm just going to try to relax off of 2 or 3 hours a day. Like, no, like that's going to end up hurting you way more in the long term than not. And yeah, maybe if there's certain days you got to get things done or you got to do things for your schedule, I get it, do your thing. But majority of the days and not, sleep is going to be so important to now maximize one, cortisol, which is your stress, because that's going to be something that now allows you to kind of shred the fat really without you doing anything extra. But also two, just allowing you to just stay at a deeper sleep and wake up feeling really just refreshed more than anything. So quality hours, I always say, again, 6 to 7 was probably about the right time for him. He went from 4 to 5 hours of not crazy quality sleep, again, waking up randomly in the middle of the nights, few times more than not, to 6 to 7 quality hours per night. And then energy boost, obviously more energy during the day, and regulated appetite allowed him to just feel better throughout his day, not needing crazy amounts of caffeine that he used to do. And then his strength actually went up as well, which is one of the things that a lot of people don't truly get or understand, is that having those proper recovery and having your whole entire just physical and life dialed into a max, everything is going to happen. A big true believer of it. If you look good, you feel good. If you feel good, you perform well. And if you perform well, then every single thing in your life is just going to increase, whether it's by a little bit or a lot of bit. It just comes down to now how does your body react to certain things that's going on in your own life. And so quality sleep dictates how your day will go and how you stack each day for the rest of your life. It's directly related to fat loss and muscle growth. That is something I wanted to imply to anyone watching this video right now, because I promise you, if you can just even start to implement a little bit with getting better sleep, a lot of things in your life will change for the better. And so our revival system, kind of bring this all back around, they'll broke down, like I said, into 2 different phases, which was one, the ignite phase, days 1 to day 90, stripping away fat, fatigue, self-doubt. It allows you to now reset habits, clean up nutrition, ignite momentum, higher rep training, dialed in nutrition, strategic cardio, and mindset framing. So for the first probably week or 2, we're just allowing myself, and then obviously the food and everything at a baseline, to get your body used to everything. And then from that point on, we're really igniting everything and waking up your muscles, waking up your body, and putting it to a crazy state that you've really never felt before, or at least just feels way better than you ever felt anything before. This is the transcend phase from days 91 to 180. It allows you to rebuild strength, structure, and confidence. We took some heavier weights out of there and allowed you to implement and start to see those strength gains happen. Higher food intake, build lean muscle, and a physique that demands respect. That is something as well for Armando specifically, myself, and everyone that I've allowed to use or helped use the revival system, is that you're going to almost see people start to look at you different, right? And that's something that not a lot of people can truly get or will never experience, because everyone's just living day to day averagely nowadays, which I get, cool, do your thing. But once you gain that confidence, you will literally walk into rooms and people will look at you like you got 2 heads, because of the amount of confidence and how you look and how everything's just structured in your day to day. That is a real thing that starts to happen. And so these are actually a few more of my clients that were also used from the revival system. So real results from real men. We have here at the left, we have Jesus. We took him from 226.5 pounds, 184 pounds. We have Jay right there in the middle on the left, where obviously majority of these guys have been in the gym. We just took him to have that right structure in play. So he looked crazy. He ended up stepping on stage. Then we have my guy Braylen here, who we did about 18, 19 pound difference to then put him on stage. So again, he's in the gym. He kind of knows what he's doing. He's dialed into it. I'm not taking anything away from people that have had that. But with the right dialed in structure, the week-to-week accountability, you can see how the pictures prove himself. And then last but not least, we have my guy Vicky here, who we took from just super unconfident, just not liking how he looked, to becoming just more in shape, better version of himself. And little by little, we just continue to work on where he's at today. And so now that all being said, you understand exactly how this process works. I have an offer for you. When executed properly, the results are unlike any other method. This is how I believe powerful the revival system becomes. And when it's executed properly and intentionally, this is where now you can take yourself from the old unconfident version of you to now that better version of you, just walking around day to day. So if you're tired of being tired and ready to look and feel the most confident you ever had before, then it's time. There's not going to be a perfect time. Whenever you took action on something, it was never the quote unquote perfect time for you. You just did it, and now you look back on whatever that happened and you're grateful that you did. So My question to you really is, are you ready to revive? Right? Like my guarantee for anyone watching this, what I've been able to do for a lot of other people, including myself, is that I will literally transform your body and confidence within 180 days or less, or I'll personally keep working you until you do. There's no sort of risk. There's no empty promises. I'm here to give my utmost just best material and best guidance and best coaching ability to you and guarantee you that. The commitment, it's about 5 hours per week following a proven system, building a physique and mindset that actually lasts. And that's obviously more into the gym. It's going to be a little bit longer than that, including everything else. But overall, it's not going to be any sort of crazy time to where you can't manage, and we can't help you do that into your day-to-day systems. And then the transformation, this will now, where we allow you to become the man who never breaks promises to himself again, rebuild your body, mindset, and your discipline. And that's just what it comes down to, man, is that I can guarantee you this more confidence than anything else in my life. It's at the point now where I know who I was, I know where I'm at now, and I know where I'm going.
If you found this video valuable and you're just tired of being tired, you're obviously at the unconfident version of you right now, and you want to become the walking, talking billboard for your own life, then let me know. All you got to do is book a call down below. I'm going to link it right there in the description, and let's have a conversation, man. I'm not here to force anyone to do something they don't want to do, but if you stuck around for the whole entire video and you watched it all the way through and you got value out of it, then let's have a conversation and see if we're even a good fit. If not, I'll point you to the right direction and make sure I can find someone who is. I promise you, man, I will take you from where you're currently at to now the better version of you in the matter of 6 months or less. If not, like I said, I'm going to continue to work with you until you do. So appreciate you guys sticking around and watching to the end, and I'll see you guys in the next one.